Dawkins' Climbing Mount Improbable presents a powerful defense of evolution, focusing on how complex biological structures that seem improbable or difficult to explain can arise through natural selection, in contrast to the image of evolution as an aimless, chaotic process. Dawkins uses the metaphor of climbing a mountain to illustrate how small, gradual steps can lead to seemingly insurmountable complexity. The book emphasizes the role of gradualism, adaptation, and the power of cumulative selection in explaining how intricate life forms and organs, such as eyes and wings, evolve over time. Central to Dawkins' argument is the metaphor of Mount Improbable. He contrasts two ways of approaching the mountain, one representing the improbable, seemingly impossible leap to complex life forms, and the other illustrating the gradual step-by-step ascent that represents the actual process of evolution. On one side of the mountain, the slope is steep, and the ascent is impossible in a single leap, symbolizing the creationist argument that complex structures could not have evolved without divine intervention. On the other side, the slope is gentle, symbolizing the gradual process of evolution through natural selection. Dawkins emphasizes that while complex biological structures, like the human eye or the wings of birds, might seem too intricate to have evolved by chance, they did not appear all at once. Rather, they are the result of millions of tiny, incremental changes, each one improving an organism's survival prospects. The metaphor of climbing the gentle slope of Mount Improbable shows how complexity can be achieved over long periods, making the improbable probable through the cumulative power of natural selection. A key concept Dawkins discusses in Climbing Mount Improbable is cumulative selection. He argues that one of the reasons people find it difficult to understand how complex structures evolve is that they mistakenly think of evolution as a random all-or-nothing process. Instead, Dawkins explains that evolution works through the accumulation of small, beneficial mutations over time. These small steps are not random, but are selected for their adaptive advantage, allowing organisms to survive and reproduce more effectively. Dawkins uses the example of the evolution of the eye to demonstrate how a complex organ can evolve through cumulative selection. He explains that the eye did not appear fully formed, but began as a simple light-sensitive patch of cells, which gradually became more sophisticated over generations. Each small improvement, such as the development of a lens to focus light, provided a survival advantage, and thus was selected for and passed down through generations. Over millions of years, these small changes accumulated to produce the highly complex and efficient eyes seen in various species today. Dawkins is a staunch advocate of Darwin's principle of gradualism, the idea that evolution proceeds through small, incremental changes rather than sudden dramatic shifts. In Climbing Mount Improbable, he argues that complex adaptations are the result of countless tiny changes that build up over time. This process can create the illusion of design, as organisms appear to be perfectly adapted to their environments. However, Dawkins contends that the appearance of design is an illusion, the result of natural selection acting over long periods. He uses the example of spider webs to illustrate this point. Spider webs, with their intricate designs, seem as though they must have been engineered by an intelligent designer. Yet Dawkins explains how natural selection, acting on small, random mutations in the behavior and silk-producing abilities of spiders, gradually produced the complex web structures seen today. Each mutation that improved a spider's ability to catch prey was favored, leading to the evolution of highly efficient webs. Dawkins also discusses the evolution of the fig tree and the fig wasp, which have a highly specialized and CO-dependent relationship. He argues that their mutual adaptations evolved gradually, with each small change in one species favoring a corresponding change in the other, leading to their remarkable CO-evolutionary relationship. This gradual adaptation process, guided by natural selection, demonstrates how complex systems can evolve without the need for a guiding hand or intelligent design. One of the main arguments Dawkins addresses in the book is the creationist assertion that complex life forms are too improbable to have evolved by chance. Creationists often argue that the probability of complex organisms arising by random mutation is astronomically low, making it impossible for them to have evolved without divine intervention. Dawkins counters this argument by explaining that evolution is not a process of pure chance. While mutations themselves may be random, natural selection is a non-random process that favors beneficial adaptations and weeds out harmful ones. He argues that it is not the probability of a complex structure arising in a single step that matters, but the probability of small incremental changes accumulating over time. When viewed through the lens of cumulative selection, what initially seems improbable becomes not only possible, but inevitable. Each small improvement in an organism's fitness increases its likelihood of survival and reproduction, and thus its chance of passing on those beneficial traits to the next generation. Dawkins also refutes the idea that certain biological structures, such as the eye, are irreducibly complex and could not function unless fully formed. He demonstrates that even a partially formed eye can provide an adaptive advantage, such as detecting light and shadow, which would be enough to favor its development through natural selection. The evolution of the eye is one of the most famous examples Dawkins uses to illustrate the power of gradual evolution. He explains how a simple light-sensitive patch of skin can evolve into a fully functional eye through a series of small, advantageous modifications. Each step along the way, from a simple light-sensing spot to a cup-shaped depression that allows for directional light detection, to the development of a lens that focuses light, provides a survival advantage, making the organism better adapted to its environment. Dawkins discusses the evolution of eyes in various species, showing that different types of eyes have evolved independently in different lineages, a process known as convergent evolution. For example, the camera-type eye of humans and the compound eyes of insects evolved separately but serve similar functions. This demonstrates how natural selection can produce similar solutions to the same problem in different species, further emphasizing the non-randomness of the evolutionary process. Another key concept Dawkins explores is the idea of evolutionary arms races, where species develop adaptations and counter-adaptations in response to each other. For example, predators and prey are engaged in a constant struggle with each side evolving new strategies to outsmart the other. Predators may evolve sharper teeth or faster running speeds, while prey may evolve better camouflage or more efficient escape mechanisms. This constant back and forth leads to a continuous process of adaptation, driving the evolution of increasingly complex traits. Dawkins discusses the example of cheetahs and gazelles, where both species have evolved exceptional speed as a result of their predator-prey relationship. The faster cheetahs become, the more pressure is placed on gazelles to evolve faster escape speeds, creating a perpetual arms race between the two species. This dynamic process of adaptation further illustrates how complexity can arise through gradual, step-by-step changes driven by natural selection. Throughout climbing Mount Improbable, Dawkins reinforces the central role of natural selection in driving evolution. He argues that natural selection is the only known mechanism capable of explaining the complexity and diversity of life on Earth. By favoring traits that enhance an organism's fitness, natural selection gradually shapes species over time, leading to the evolution of complex biological structures and behaviors. Dawkins critiques alternative explanations, such as creationism and intelligent design, arguing that they fail to provide a scientific account of how complexity arises. Instead of invoking supernatural explanations, Dawkins urges readers to appreciate the power of natural selection to create intricate and highly adapted organisms through the accumulation of small beneficial changes over time.